Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm happy to bring you a review for the new Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy, Decepticon Mirage. Coincides with the new Netflix animated series. So this is a very interesting toy. It's one of the new deluxe figures, and it has Mirage, obviously done up in Decepticon colors. And I think it was the listing kind of described it and what it's about. Apparently this is Mirage going undercover and infiltrating the Decepticons, which may or may not come up in the show itself. I hope it does. I imagine that's why they did this. It's an interesting kind of spin on the character's questionable loyalty to the Autobot cause that's been kind of examined in other media before. They even had this one really cool one-shot. It's like a mirror universe where Mirage was actually a Decepticon spy, and he basically took out all the Autobots or helped the Decepticons take them out. So I think this is a nod to that. But he's one of the more interesting figures in this line because even though he's not a new character, he has a very different color palette and even affiliation than the first Siege Mirage toy. So I think he's one of the more highly desired figures. Now, one thing that's cool about these deluxes is that each one of them comes with a part of a backdrop that's going to make up the whole inside the Autobot arc, like the Teletran 1 room that they're always in, the G1 cartoon. So it gives people an incentive to pick up all of these, or depending on the way you look at it, maybe twist people's arm to pick up toys they wouldn't otherwise buy, because a lot of them are very similar to their Siege counterparts. I'll let you decide that one. Honestly, I won't lie, I lean toward the latter. I still bought them all though, because I'm a sucker like that. So anyway, if you've seen my reviews, you know how this is going to go. We're going to take a look at Mirage's packaging. We'll open them up, we'll see the instructions, we'll look at the backdrop piece, and then we'll see Mirage himself in both his vehicle and robot modes. I'll do some group shots with the other versions of this toy, and then at the end, I'll give my final thoughts. So Mirage is done up in that very cool, very eye-catching, just black and white packaging going on here. You can see inside he comes with everything that the original toy comes with, which is good. It's got this really cool purple and what is that, a grayish blue, I think, color scheme. One called Sky Blue. It's too dingy for that. Obviously got a lot of dirt and grunge and stuff on them. It's all new paint apps, by the way. That's one thing I like about this is they at least had the budget to do some new paint things. Right here you got this picture of Mirage looking very evil, which is weird for that character, but there he is. On the back, piece of plastic. How'd that get there? Alright, so on the back here you have the render of Mirage in both his vehicle and robot modes. It takes 19 steps to transform, which is a pretty decent number for a deluxe class toy. And that's about it. City symbol there. And then Netflix War for Cybertron artwork on this side. Right, here's the instruction book. And you open it up. Show you the two different ways that Mirage can wield his weapons here. And then we just have our transformation to the vehicle mode. And that's really it. Pretty cut and dry. And now this is the backdrop piece he comes with. And you can see the letters and slots and everything to help you figure out how to attach this to the other pieces. Can't wait to see the end result, and I will show that when I review the last of the deluxes. So just stay tuned. All right, here we have his Formula One Racer-esque vehicle mode. And you can see color-wise, it's quite different from what we've seen before. Got a lot of this bluish gray on here, a lot of this nice purple color, and then a whole bunch of just kind of a darker gray for a weathering effect. And then you can also see, especially on his spoiler and his side, you have these paint markings that look almost like grease splatter, which kind of makes sense, right? You figure this guy being on a racetrack and all that. So it's kind of a different approach, right? Normally their battle damage looks more like burns or scraping or something. This just looks like he's gotten grease on him from something. So interesting. Still got the same old mini front end in the back end syndrome that you can't really do anything about. And then the underside, fairly clean. See, he's got that scraping effect on his pelvic area there, so that's interesting. The weapons this time around are all just done up in the same shade of dark gray plastic, same as this. which that really seems to be the MO of Siege toys I've noticed, especially when it comes to the Autobots, is that they're putting a greater emphasis on paint applications for the characters themselves, and the weapons usually end up having little to no paint on them. So it looks like they're kind of just reevaluating their priorities when it comes to the paint budget, at least as far as this subline is concerned. But it's something I noticed that's fairly consistent across the board. Now here's a group shot with the regular Mirage and Holo Mirage variant. And one of the biggest differences between these, aside from obviously the coloration, is that this Mirage is not using any clear plastic this time around. The regular one uses a little bit here for the main body, and then Holo Mirage is mostly clear plastic, like 75%. So that's good for making sure your toy doesn't break anytime soon. Now, unfortunately for this Holo Mirage, I actually ended up cracking the little shoulder port that his cannon goes into. I did that like right after reviewing him. I put it in there and the thing just cracked. Now, luckily, it's the kind of single point crack where shouldn't really be an issue. If anything, it just helps that fit in a little more easily. But it is damaged now, and there's nothing I can do about that. You know, trying to replace this would be too difficult, so I just kind of have to live with that. My Chromias have the same issue. Their little 5mm hole in the chest where you place the gun in vehicle mode, that has cracked, and I think every copy of that mold that I own. So it's unfortunate, but this seems mostly avoidable if you want to actually utilize those ports. Alright, now here's Mirage's robot mode, and you can see all that nice painted detail really just stands out here. Chest has a bit of a singed appearance to it. As far as tolerances and everything, they all seem to be fine. No issues there. Nothing too tight, nothing too loose. He's got these really great striking yellow eyes that just kind of pop off of the dark silver face. And I don't know, it's interesting, right? If you didn't know who this was, if you had no prior knowledge of Mirage as a character, you'd have no reason to believe that this design just wasn't always a Decepticon design. It works very, very well. So not only does he execute a pretty cool idea, he's just a cool looking figure by himself. Kind of looks like what would happen if like G2 Breakdown and Dragstrip had a baby, right? With like the blue and purple. And now that I've got that mental image seared into your head forever, let's do a group shot. Here he is with the other two, and as you can see, he does utilize the same cartoon-inspired head sculpt as the regular Mirage figure, instead of the more toy-accurate one that Holo Mirage uses, which is to be expected. The toy-based head was more of an obscure nod to longtime fans. This is going to be the more recognizable visage, so can't say I'm shocked there. This guy existing just shows off how many variants Mirage ended up getting based solely off of like certain character traits that are, you know, possibly not known to everybody, especially more casual fans, right? You have a toy that specifically references his ability to go invisible, not actually form holograms despite the particular naming. And then you have one that reflects his kind of questionable loyalties that's been a facet of his character since the beginning. So, yeah, it is neat. It answers kind of like a great what if, like what if Mirage was a con? Now in this case, he apparently isn't really, he's supposedly infiltrating the cons, but we'll see if that toy description holds up to the show. Another thing that makes him interesting is even though he is a Decepticon officially, I can see a lot of people buying this and repurposing it as their Shattered Glass Mirage. Especially if they want to go like the Toy Hacks route or something, just put like a purple Autobot symbol on them. It'd be everything they need. You could have an SG Mirage toy, which I don't think they ever made one, right? Pretty sure. So overall, it's just a really neat thing to have. Do you absolutely have to buy this toy? No, of course not. I mean, technically you don't have to buy any toy, right? But this is going to be more for the older or just more dedicated collectors. You know, if you just had to pick a Mirage toy to represent the character, I would just go with the standard release. However, if you want one just because you like the way it looks, or you like this idea of a Traitor Mirage or Spy Mirage, he's great for that. And he's just a cool looking toy. Heck, I guess you just buy him and headcanon him into something else, such as the disturbing breakdown drag strip hybrid I mentioned. Now, I think he's going to be one of the more highly sought after toys in this line, because while he's not a new character like Scrapface or Hot Link, he is one of the most radically redesigned characters out of the lot. Right? You got Megatron, who looks great, but he's just kind of a more silver Megatron. And then you have the remaining Autobots that are just slightly modified versions of the standard release toys. So this guy is going to appeal to a lot of people, more so than the rest of them. So I would expect having kind of a hard time finding him on shelves at first. If you do venture out there into the COVID-infested wilderness. So, I would just say don't get discouraged. He will start reaching some kind of saturation eventually. If that fails, then they are scheduled to be released online through Walmart's website sometime in May or June. So if you really want one, you will be able to find one. Also want to point out on a side note, I really hope this is the last time they use this mold, because I frankly don't want to have to transform this guy again, because I'm really afraid he's just going to break eventually. So, I don't know, but maybe we should just leave Mirage alone for a little while. Just let me sleep in peace, not have to worry about breaking my Hollow Mirage. So anyway, I think I've said my piece on what I think of this new Decepticon Mirage. Now what I want to know is what you all think of him. Is this a must-buy for you? Is it a maybe? Or do you just have no interest, either because he's too out there or you already have Mirage? I'd love to know what you all think in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Let YouTube know you like this kind of content. If you want to see more like it or any of my other videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the first ever Decepticon Mirage toy. Well, first ever G1 anyway. And with all that said, I will see you next time.